To the new world order of college football, where it doesn't make a difference what time zone you're in. You can be in whatever conference you want. I hate to start there, but I guess I did. What's your take on where this whole thing is headed?
I really don't know. I don't think anybody knows. I would be an advocate for a commissioner of college football or a leadership group that makes decisions in the best interest of the enterprise.
Right.
I've said this before, but I don't think anybody's doing anything wrong right now. Commissioners have to act in the best interest of their conference.
Right.
Athletic directors and presidents have to act in the best interest of their institution. But nobody is overlooking the entire enterprise. So even though some of these moves might be good for individual conferences or individual schools, I'm not convinced it's good for college football as a whole.
Right. Actually,
until there's a leadership of college football, I think we're going to continue down this road. And sometimes it may be a slow trickle, and other times it comes out of nowhere.
It's like opening up a fire hydrant. I've talked about it in this way too, without getting to the a commissioner of the sport. In that, what has happened was really good for a few schools in a couple of leagues, or in one league, but the overall product it ultimately hurts because all of the attention, everything gets kind of separated into, like I think Jim Phillips today called it the two gated communities. Like, I get the whole gated community thing, but inclusion is good.
Yeah, it's hard,
especially for this.
It's hard to grow an enterprise by limiting opportunity. And again, I'm not critical of what anybody's doing or any decision they're making, but everyone's doing what's best for their league or their school. And at some point, it would be nice to have somebody that looks at the totality of college football and college athletics and says what's best for the entire enterprise. I don't know if schools moving conferences is generating, more value or more revenue. It's just shifting it.
Dave Clawson from Wake Forest. Final question about this. Is what's good for college football good for college athletics, or are those two things separate?
Again, I think, everybody has to make decisions at each institutions of how invested they are. At Wake Forest, we've invested in football. We've spent $100 million on facilities. We've won a lot of football games. We've invested in our staff. And I think it'd be hard to say that at this point Wake Forest isn't all in with football. And I think us being all in and us selling out our stadium has benefited the other sports at Wake Forest. That when you sell out your stadium, you have more revenue. And that certainly helps our soccer team and our women's golf team and our field hockey team and all the sports that we want to be successful at Wake Forest to have a good, well-rounded athletic department.
Yeah, we keep watching the men's golfers nearly win major championships.
Yeah, and in both of our golf teams won the ACC championship this year, and we're really proud of those athletes and those coaches.
Dave Clawson, let's talk football, shall we? Maybe you don't like to look back, but I'm curious. What is your highlight of last year? It was a great year, obviously.
I mean, there were so many of them, but certainly, the NC State game is a really big game for us. And that game, the winner of that game was going to be in the driver's seat to win the Atlantic Division. And for that game to be at night and have our stadium sold out, we had over 90% of our students at Wake Forest at that game. And it was a magical night for our program. And it's, we beat a team that we have great respect for. That's a really good football team. Yeah. But there were so many highlights, beating Syracuse in overtime and finding a way to beat Louisville and winning the bowl game and winning the Atlantic Division championship at BC. When you win 11 games and have a year like that, there's a lot of highlights.
Coming after the state game and knowing what was on the line, how did you get the guys up to play it? Because BC wasn't bad. I thought BC was a good football team.
We had NC State, and then we had Clemson.
Okay, right.
So the challenge was we went down to Clemson and didn't play well.
So you got that out of the way.
Well, yeah, and then so
Smart
that became,
scheduling.
you got to, And if you look at teams' records after they play Clemson, it's not real good. And so that was the challenge is, hey, guys, we still control this thing. Right. We could have wrapped up the league at Clemson. We failed to do that. And we had one more chance. And we went to BC and played a heck of a game.
I wanted to ask Jim Phillips today why he didn't just scrap divisions right now altogether. But I guess this is the way the schedule is going to be. But now divisions are gone. After this year, divisions are gone, which will allow you to play North Carolina in conference games more often as opposed to having to schedule non-conference games. That's got to be good.
That's a positive, but the negative is now we don't play NC State every year.
Right.
And, NC State, we've played them 110 consecutive years. I think it's like any decision you make. To get something, you got to give something up. We're glad we get to play Carolina more often. We're disappointed that 110-year consistent rivalry is going to disappear.
Did you get hosed on the I guess primary partners?
No, I mean when you have 14 different schools, right? There's a lot of different agendas.
Well, no question. I mean, they could have kept the Big Four together. Did you advocate for that?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's fair to the rest of the schools in the league, right? If you keep all those four together and we're in the middle of the league, creates a lot of extra travel for other people. So I believe all those things were considered.